Hey Snapchat, I want to do a snapstorm today on advice on receiving advice. The biggest challenge in receiving advice as a startup now is there's just so many blogs out there and so many mentors and so many accelerators and so much advice going around. And I find there's even people who are on their first startup or maybe haven't achieved much who are offering advice. And so there's a lot of people that maybe don't have the complete experience. In a way, it's kind of like the life coach industry. Like anyone can be a life coach. So a lot of people offering life coach advice, but there's probably a lot of those you wouldn't listen to. The truth is, early in my VC career, I had a lot of opinions about venture capital, but I didn't offer other VCs advice until many years in. So I guess the message is you want to be selective in whom you take advice from, but I'm going to offer you some tips on that. But the opposite is true. I find that there's some people who are cavalier and say you shouldn't listen to any startup advice because it's too generic and not applicable to you. But let me point out the obvious hypocrisy. That advice is advice in itself, and of course it's terrible advice. What I like to tell people is you should triangulate. It's a sailing term where you take multiple points, reference points, to figure out your true direction to sail. And to this day, I do that on almost every hard decision I face. I'm constantly asking lots of people their points of view on topics I care about. I try to be thoughtful about what is the point of view or perspective of the person I'm asking so I can get multiple different angles on every topic. And because I'm constantly asking on every topic, I'm constantly mixing all of these opinions into a pot and trying to figure out where I stand on an issue. And of course, you need to take all these views and overlay a framework for a decision of how it applies to you. That's why in most of the advice that I offer, I try to think in frameworks because I want to give you a way to make decisions for yourself, but based on experiences that I've had. And I tell people, take lots of opinions, but in the end, you have to trust your own gut, your own judgment. Force yourself to write up what you think other people's opinions are and use it to form a logical structure for a decision framework for you. Over time, you can begin to test your frameworks and see if you think they hold true or they apply. And it may be at this company, or you may use this in the future. And over time, you'll be able to test of all the people you triangulate with, which people seem to deliver you the most accurate advice, and you'll go back to them more often than others. One of my favorite metaphors for startups also is that you need a sparring partner, and that sparring partner is usually someone in your business. The reason this is important is it's really hard for mentors or advisors or investors or board members to give you precise information because they don't live inside your company. Having a sparring partner means you can take advice from above, mix it in a pot, develop a framework, and then debate it with someone who you live with day in, day out. To summarize, triangulate, take lots of advice from people, mix it in a pot, trust your own gut, develop a framework. And please don't let anyone tell you it's a bad idea to get no advice. That's simply the worst advice I've ever heard.